Hola,
right.
comadre.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Bien.
Necesitamos hacer un episodio en español.
Oh, wow. Guys, did you guys hear Jenny's Latin voice? Wow, that was so good. Okay. Sí. I
Pero no
was like
hoy.
shocked. I'm like,
Pero no
whoa.
hoy.
Pero no hoy. Sí, hoy no. Otro día. Wow,
You
you
know what's
guys,
so
that was
funny?
so good.
Sometimes I'll have
Uh,
dreams
uh,
and like I speak so good in Spanish in my dreams. And then I wake up
mhm,
and I'm like, why can't
mhm.
I do that in real life? Like I get so nervous.
That was so good. That was really good. Wow.
Gracias.
Wow. My Spanish señorita. Wow. Dang. Dang, that is funny. Okay, Jenny.
I'm
So
sweating
today,
now.
the way we're doing this,
It
you
makes me so
guys,
nervous.
we usually we're trying to do a kind of like schedule where we like bring you guys a fun interview and then like a serious interview. And today Val decided on the interview or on the questions. And today we're gonna talk about just growing and outgrowing things. And yeah, just basically growth, which is good but also can sometimes feel lonely. So let's get started. Okay, Jenny. So the way these questions are, you guys, is there someone you
It's
don't talk
basically
to
like a
anymore?
therapy
You don't have to
session.
name them. Yeah, you guys, you're gonna do therapy with us, but it's okay. Let's do it. We
Yeah.
got this. Jenny, who are you not talking to anymore? Actually, don't tell us, but is there someone you're not talking to anymore?
So I'm not gonna say names, but there's an example that I can think of right now. There is a girl that I used to be friends with in high school, very, very good friends with. And we ended up having a falling out. And at first I thought the friendship ended on a what's the word? Like pretty neutral note. Like we didn't have any animosity towards each other at first. But then I remember she and her friend started a rumor about me, and out of nowhere, like they just kind of turned on me. And that was pretty painful. But I mean, I really wish her nothing but the best. We were in high school. This was years ago. And I know that ultimately the reason why she did those things is because she was taught those things in a lot of her relationships at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from that relationship.
Oh, wow. Dang, I did not expect that. That was definitely a twist. I was like, whoa, we got into it right away. Okay. Is there someone I don't talk to anymore? Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people I don't talk to anymore, and that's not necessarily like because they did anything to me or because of like bad blood. It's just like we just get busy. Life happens, everybody's trying to do their best. And so, when I run into you, if you want to say hi or, whatever it is, like I'm more than happy to, like I don't necessarily feel like I have bad blood with anyone, but yeah, there's definitely people that I do try to like limit my interactions with. Definitely. All
Mhm.
right, Jenny. Let's see. Do you miss this person or do you miss that time in your life?
In some ways. So I would say one of the things that I really miss about this person is like she was the first person that I really felt I had like a close like sister relationship with, even though there were times where she was not a nice person and she would just say really nasty things about other people. Her and we just like I don't know, this was like in my junior and senior year, and I remember feeling like so free whenever I was friends with her because we would like take drives in her car and we would like listen to Taylor Swift, and we had a lot of classes together, and so like we were just inseparable and always with each other, and like it was like the typical friendship that you see in the movies, and I had never felt that way with anybody before. So I do miss that, and I do miss like how she was kind of like a big sister to me in a way. Like I remember there was this one time that I had a sleepover at her house, and like she was showing me how to do makeup cuz like I literally did not know anything like about makeup or makeup terms or anything like that, and like I loved that. I loved being able to have those like vulnerable moments with her where like I really just felt like that bond, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, Wow, I can resonate. I have people that I can think of in my life where I've felt that. Do I miss them? Yeah, I do. I do miss that. Do I miss that time in my life? I do. I think Jenny told me this quote, and it's a season, a reason, or a lifetime. So I know that there's times of my life that were seasonal. Like, okay, like it kind of made me hold on to the feeling a little bit longer because I'm like, I know this is gonna pass. For example, like I remember the last the last summer that I had between like high school and college, like that transition. And I remember like being like very honest with my parents and be like, hey, like it's like people are turning 18, like we got licenses, we're driving, like we're going to parties, and just telling them like I need you to trust me and I need you to know that like I will be home, I'll be safe, that I'm not going to be out getting in trouble or being crazy. But at the same time, I feel like this is the last summer of like girlhood, or like the last summer of like a lot of my friends are going to go to new colleges. A lot of my friends are going to move away. This might be the last, fill in the blank. There's also friends that we lost between that transition period, like people that we were going to go to college with that like died. That's crazy. But a few
Yeah.
names come to mind that like they didn't even
Yeah.
make it to like their freshman year of college. And so I remember very vividly telling them, like, I just need like this summer, like, I just need you guys to just understand that like I'm kind of holding on to like this feeling. And they were like, okay. Like, I think whenever I explained it and told them that way, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go off the rails, like I'm not gonna be some crazy party kid, but I just need you to understand that like right now, like I'm making memories that I don't know that I'm gonna have again. And so
Mhm.
when I think of like this specific person, I feel the same way. It's like I miss them and I miss those memories, but I also feel like it's a good like little scrapbook in my memory, and it's like, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily think that that's the healthiest person for me right now, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So, was it hard to admit that you've outgrown this friendship?
That specific one, I think at the time it felt hard, but looking back now, it feels kind of like an obvious. Because the reason why we grew apart
Mhm.
in that friendship is this person was kind of going down like a partying lifestyle path, which is fine. Like, no shade to anybody who likes to indulge in that every now and then, but it was getting to a point where I was a little worried about her mental health because of the frequency. And she was also spending a lot of time with this guy that I didn't really know and I didn't really trust. And some of the things that I
Mhm.
had heard about him, I was just genuinely worried for like her and, the reasons why she wanted to be involved with this person. And I wanted to protect her and be honest with her about some of the behaviors that I was noticing and how I was kind of feeling like I was starting to become less and less a part of her life. And I expressed that to her over text. And then, like I said earlier, at first she was very chill and she was like, okay, like I understand, what you're saying and I hear what you are saying. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, do you want to have lunch tomorrow and we can talk about it in person and like talk about it a little bit more deeply? Cause at that point I wasn't really I mean, this happened so long ago, so I can't really remember if I actually was just like, "Yeah, I don't wanna be friends at all," but I do remember saying that I did wanna have an in-person discussion with her because 'cause I'm not the kind of person to do, like, the whole back and forth texting. I just feel like it isn't very
Mhm.
productive, and so, the next day, we had the same class together before lunch, and she was in the class, but then she left early. She left, like, 10 minutes early, and then she never texted me, and so I was like, "Okay, well,
Um,
I guess that tells me, like, where she's at with how she wants to proceed moving forward, and
yeah.
I can't remember what the question was.
No, it was like, was it hard to admit that you'd outgrown that friendship?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the initial sending the text to her was hard because I was a little scared of
Mhm.
how she was gonna react. That's kind of the biggest thing that scared me. But then once it all happened, I feel like it didn't feel as hard. I feel bad saying this, but it was kind of a relief. Because again, she wasn't the nicest person, and there were some not so fun things about her and her personality that I had been through and that I had witnessed. And I honestly didn't feel like I was becoming a good person because of it. I feel like I was kind of turning into that mean person as well. And that's just not who I am at my core. And I feel like it ended up lifting a weight off my shoulders because it gave me space to like find out who I really wanted to be and cultivate the positive qualities that I had been missing for some time at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I I can relate to that a lot for me in my friendship. So I can talk about a lot of friendships that have grown with me parallel. So Jenny and I have been friends since high school. And there were times where like I don't necessarily think that we weren't friends, but we were just in different lives, like different like Jenny was side questing in Florida, and I'm like, my homegirl's out in Florida. She's doing some Disney stuff right now. And I'm over here side questing over here. So I never felt like I wasn't her friend. I'm just like, I know she's somewhere else doing something else. But
Mhm.
like I feel like a lot of my friendships have grown with me. Like we went through high school together, we went through college together. We went through a lot of personal fitness journeys together. And then obviously like the podcast, similarly with like Angela, we did martial arts together and we did, kind of grow apart a little bit, but then we kind of came back. So a lot of my friendships either I feel like they haven't necessarily ended, but they've just either gone and done separate things and then we come back. But there are friendships where I'm just like, okay, like this is not a healthy friendship. And it does suck to admit it because for me, like I love my friends and I care about my friends and it's hard knowing like, I just can't be a part of your life right now. Like I don't think you're a good person for me or maybe I don't think I'm a good person for you. Like maybe, we're growing at two different speeds and maybe fill in the blank. So for me in this specific friendship, yeah, it feels hard to outgrow it, especially because there's a lot of love and I wish I could help,
Mhm.
but there's this quote and it's like you can't force a horse. What is it? You can lead a
You can
horse
lead
to
a
water,
horse.
but you can't for
Yeah.
yeah, but you can't force them to drink. So it's like, look, I can
Mhm.
give you the tools, I can try to help you, but if you want to stay stuck, be stuck. Like I can't do it for you. So then it's kind of like we're not gonna grow together, and you're gonna be there as long as you'd like, for as long
Mhm.
as you'd like. So yeah, it is hard, but I've also been there. But I've also been there where it's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that was very intense. Just kidding. Changing faster
Again,
than
it's
the
therapy for
environment.
us, basically.
Yeah. Do you feel like you are growing, but your world hasn't caught up a little bit?
Yeah.
Like I feel like yes and no, but I feel like there's also that like sweet spot or there's also like that transition, especially like for example, like after you graduate college, you're still working that like odd job before you get your big girl job and you know it's coming, but you're like getting ready for it. So always feel like there's like a transition period or for like that summer between high school and college. Like you're not quite in college yet, but you're not in high school yet, but you're in that transition period. So I do feel like I've grown a lot, but it hasn't caught up to me just yet. But I know that I'm in that transition period. That's where I feel right now.
Yeah. Well, Val and I, we kind of discussed a few of these questions before we started the episode, and something that I mentioned to her that I experienced last year, I feel like I'm doing a lot better with it this year, but I feel like I grew so much last year that I kind of had like an identity crisis because I looked back at the person that I was before I even moved to Knoxville and I was comparing it to the person that I was like December 2025, like just wondering like who am I? Like what are my values? Like I don't even recognize myself anymore and it's all for good reasons. Like I'm growing, but it's growing pains for sure and it feels really disorienting.
Mhm.
I think something that I've had to remind myself is like my core values and kind of think back on the past and like all of the experiences that I've had leading up to this point and reminding myself that just because I am growing into a new person doesn't mean all the past versions of myself are not inside of me. And reminding myself that I was
Mhm.
a little girl in Chambanino, New Mexico with humble beginnings, and reminding myself that I have had a wonderful best friend for over 10 years who's still by my side and wants to see me grow and wants to see me shine. And I am still the girl who loves to watch Disney movies and reminisce and who genuinely has a kind heart and is always trying her best. And as long as I go back to those core values, then it takes a lot of that, like, sorry if you're listening, mom, I'm gonna cuss, that mind fuck. Like, I don't want to drive myself crazy by being like, oh my God, who am I? It's like, wait, let's slow down. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay. Like, you're good. You still have those things inside of you. It's gonna be okay.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think whenever you were talking about like having that identity shift of like who am I? I think for me right now, like I'm really focused on like my podcast. I'm really focused on my family with my husband and like what we're trying to create. And I also feel like I stopped trying to compete or try to like what is it, climb the corporate ladder. I'm kind of like I really don't care. Like I'm gonna just be happy coaching, working with kids, doing what makes me happy when I can, and just building this with my best friend and do like I kind of just like stopped competing and just like you guys go compete. You guys go, figure that out. Like you guys go do that, but I'm going to go build this. So
Mhm.
no, I completely agree. And also like letting go of like I don't have to be number one in everything. Like you don't have to just you don't have to be the best at everything, Val. Like go do your thing. Like it's fine. Okay, which leads me into the next conversation. I know that you and I talked about this, but are there places or conversations that don't hit the same anymore?
Yeah, so Val and I talked about this, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I am still actively working on the gossiping part of my life. I'm not saying that I never do it, but I feel like whenever conversations like that come up into my space, I try to navigate them in a way of like exchanging information to A, understand where the people that I'm talking about are coming from and like break it down. So usually like say for example I'm talking to Val about a situation that happened in my life and I just need to vent. That's one of the reasons that I usually will bring that up. The other reason that I will usually bring it up is because I want to practice conversations with her because I know Val's not going to judge me. And I want those conversations to be productive whenever I do bring that to the actual person's attention because I value them and because I want them to stay in my life, but I also want to assert my boundaries. And so I kind of try to go in that direction. However, there are times where like other people will kind of bring up the same situations over and over again. And I start to feel like it's just getting repetitive and it's kind of like wasting my time. And I don't want to like
Yeah.
gossip just for gossip's sake. Like, I don't want to gossip just to call someone a name or be like, oh, like I hate her or create like an us versus them mentality. That kind of starts to feel really
Mhm.
redundant to me and it's not going into the conversation with like a solution oriented conversation. And so again, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that by any means. Like I'm still nosy. I'm still a chismosa. I can't help it. If the neighbors are fighting, I will listen to the neighbors. But like it's just my psychology brain. It's like I try to go from that perspective into those conversations. So, yeah. I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I can think of several times where Jenny has done this where like maybe she's had a stressful day at work and then like we'll kind of think through because it's like, well, do you want to keep having stressful days at work? So then it's like, well, no. So then we'll kind of get proactive of things that, she can do or we can do or like next time this happens, it's like more productive based, but it also happens on the other end. Like I remember one time she was telling me about this like this networking event and she's like, "Girl, you got to check out this place, Eventbrite, like see what's going on in your area." And it was more like focused on like if something bad happens, this is what I can do about it. But something good happened and like this is what I learned and like maybe you should see what's going on in your area because I was talking about feeling homesick or like not really knowing where to go or what to do, not really having that network here and she's like, "Well, like this is a good tool." So I think our conversations are very focused on like productivity and being proactive and like things that her and I can do. But yes, it can be very taxing or exhausting when somebody's just coming to you with like problems and then you're like, well, like, what do you want to do about it? And they're like blank and they're like, I just like wanted to like talk about my problems. And you're like, oh, okay. But if like nothing changes and nothing changes and next week you talk to them and they're still on the same problem, then for me, and I think what Jenny is saying, it just gets like redundant and you're just like, I'm just listening to you whine. Like I'm just listening to you complain. And that's kind of like a waste of my time because you're still in the same situation. Like you still didn't do anything about it. And then I get frustrated. So like my tolerance for like whining or nagging, is that mean to say nagging or like my tolerance for complaining is very low because
mhm.
I'm like, well, you were in the you were in the same boat last week and a month ago and a year ago and like
Mhm.
maybe it sounds like you don't want to do anything about it because you haven't done anything about it. So then when I
Yeah,
offer tools and the tools are rejected, I'm like, okay, maybe you're just not the type of person that I want to interact with because you just want to
right.
complain. And there's therapists and you like you can go talk to them and they'll actually charge you. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense,
Yeah.
Jen. Does that
No,
mean?
yeah, and no. Well, first of all, I feel like nagging is more like telling somebody to do something. So, I don't think it's mean because I don't think that's the word you meant. But I know we've talked about this before, and something that I've told Val that has really helped me is whenever I have somebody in my life who is a friend who is bringing a problem to me, sometimes I will straight up ask them. I'll be like, okay, well, do you want advice right now? Or are you just like, do you need a listening ear? And sometimes they are like, you know what? Honestly, I just need a listening ear. Like, I just need you to be on my side and like be like, "Oh, I can't believe that happened. Why would they do that?" You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you really do need that.
Mhm.
However, I do agree that if it becomes repetitive, there is a point in a friendship where if you are simply playing into that conversation over and over and over again and not figuring out how to come up with a solution, you're ultimately doing that person a disservice and you're not being as good of a friend as you could be because one of the pillars of friendship is honesty. And sometimes, unfortunately, that requires you to be honest with your friend, even if that makes them uncomfortable, or even if you're challenging their beliefs, or even if what you might say is something that they could disagree with. That is all part of the human experience, is bringing in alternate perspectives and saying, hey, I understand that you're really upset and I'm so sorry. Like, that's awful. That must suck. However, I do notice you've been bringing this exact same thing to me over and over and over again. Is there a different way that we can look at this? Is there a pattern here that you're noticing? Like, dive deeper and let's figure out how we can make this a problem in your life that's not happening as frequently because you deserve to have a peaceful life. And ultimately, that conversation comes from a place of love. It's not because you're trying to make the person feel bad or because you're trying to harm them or hurt their feelings. It might feel like that at first because it's uncomfortable, but again, it comes from a place of love because all you want is for that person to thrive and move forward with a peaceful, beautiful life. So that's my personal opinion. I
Mhm.
think it might come off as mean to the people sometimes that are on the other side, but I think if they do a little bit of
Mhm.
soul searching, they might realize, hey, like the reason this person said this to me is not out of lack of love, it's out of an abundance of love.
Mhm. Yeah, yes, I agree. Yes, like I like wholeheartedly agree. And so maybe this is feedback because I have been told, and maybe this is because the last 10 years, like the field that I've been in is in ABA, or like even in coaching, like you're making little kids stronger. You're telling them like, no, like do it like this. Like we got to fix that form. This is going to help you out. So the role that I've been in has been very proactive for the last like 10 years. And people have told me like, yes, I'm glad. I just wanted to connect. And then I feel like maybe I'm like they were just looking to connect and I came here with a strategy and like a to-do list. And so I guess maybe just navigating that like that balance.
Dynamic.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like after it becomes, yeah, that dynamic, but after it becomes repetitive, it's like, well, like, I'm sorry, you're still struggling. It sounds like you still haven't done anything about it. So then, yeah, learning when to also step back because then, yeah, I also don't want to waste my time in the same conversation, in the same loop, in the same, it's like a broken
Well, and
record.
you
It's like,
just
I
don't
know,
want
but
them
you
to
told me
suffer
this.
anymore.
Yes, and then you don't want them to suffer anymore. And then, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow. Feeling uncomfortable. Okay. Feeling uncomfortable can mean you're ready for more. That was weird. That was a weird question. Oh, it's a simple reframes. That was a reframing statement.
Oh, I
Darn.
see. Yeah, I agree. I
Okay.
feel like
The min
growth does not happen in your comfort zone. So,
Yeah, yeah. What is it? I recently interviewed somebody and they were like, bring on the challenges. And I was like, whoa, lady. I was like, whoa. But I was just like, you know what? You're right. Cause like that is where you grow. So she's like, I've just learned to embrace it. And I'm like, maybe I need to adapt that where it's like you get that like adrenaline high. I'm like, I'm not there yet, but yes. I'm like,
you're like, universe, I'm not ready. I'm just speaking figuratively, but maybe in the future I'll feel
like
that way.
just I'm like, can you just universe, can you just pace yourself? Can you just not throw them all at
Yeah.
once? Like, can you
Like, just
just
sprinkle the
pace yourself, man?
challenges out.
Yes, yes.
That was me last year. I was like, okay, I get it.
That's funny. Okay, so the misunderstood middle. Well, I like this one. Have you been told that you seemed different lately? Have you been told that you seem different lately, Jenny?
Yeah, I don't even know if I wanna bring it up, but I think I should. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. Okay, I'm getting sweaty. I don't wanna talk about this, but because I think this person could be listening. But recently, somebody was telling me that they listened to not my, our podcast, and she
Mhm.
was like, "It's just funny because like, the way that you talk on there is, like, very different from real life." And, at first I kind of was offended, and I don't know. I feel like I can see both sides. Like, I reflected on it and I was like, okay, there are times where I think I can be a little rigid and be like a little nervous. And so I kind of resort to like my customer service voice. And I'm like, all right, welcome to Conscious Comadres. Then I also was like, well, you know what? I've also never had these kinds of conversations with this person. So of course it's going to seem different to her. Cause like, I'm not talking about like growth and like deep psychology conversations on the daily. In my daily life, I'm usually talking about much more casual things. So, dang, I'm sorry. I keep asking you, what was the question again? I feel like I keep getting off track.
Uh, no, 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 it's good. No, you were on the right track. It says, have people told you that you seem different lately, or like
Oh,
that you're different? I don't know.
yeah. Well, and then I guess like kind of going down where the question is leading me or where I feel like it's leading me, it's like just because I'm trying something new doesn't mean that I'm being inauthentic. It just means that I'm
Mhm,
exploring a new side of myself. And again, growth doesn't
mhm,
happen in your comfort zone. So like if I am being a little different or talking about a little like some different things, that doesn't make it that I'm not genuine. It just means that I'm trying to grow as a person and like elevate the
mhm.
type of person I am and the type of conversations that I'm having. So I'll let you answer that question. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so there was this quote. Oh my gosh, you guys, I always say that. There was this quote, but it's like you can only meet people to the layers that they know themselves. So, depending on their personal growth and where they're at, like for example, a 4-year-old will not know like the 30-year-old version of yourself. Like they're just like, I'm in 4-year-old land and I think about Legos. And you're like, right on, bro. Like, it's like people can only meet you at the depth
Legit.
that they know themselves. Yeah, so it's just like everybody has a different level of awareness, and also people know you at different layers. So I go back and I talk about my coach a lot, but my coach knows me at very different layers. So my coach knew me like when I was in middle school, and he saw my preteen phase, and he saw me like be heartbroken, and he's like, "Why are you crying over a dumb guy?" Like he knew me at he's like, "There's so much more." But in my little like teen brain, I was
You're
like,
like, it
he
matters.
thinks I'm ugly. Yes. And so like there's layers. So he's seen me grow up to like now being married. So like there's so many layers. And so this person knows me at a completely different level than like let's say my coworkers. Cause yeah, my coworkers also tuned in and they're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were a podcaster." And it's like, well, I'm not advertising it. Like, yes, I do advertise it. Like I do talk about it. But also I don't want it to like every time I come in through the building be like, Conscious Comadres has
Did you
arrived,
guys
or
know
like,
that I have a podcast?
did you did you guys
Just
know? And then in
randomly.
my podcast, we talked about
By the
this,
way.
and then yeah, we talked about that in my podcast. And
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. That was I'm glad you had a good weekend. But in the
It's
podcast,
just
it's
like
like it's
appropriate
not.
conversations for different times.
Yes, exactly. So it's like there's people know me at different layers. So people have gone through several layers of me. Jenny has gone through a lot of layers. And also, I think the reason why I don't want to say the podcast is so good, but it's because we're very comfortable with each other and we can talk to each other this way
Yeah.
versus like a complete stranger. And
Yeah.
they just, I'm like, you don't know me at that level, bro. Like, it's like Shrek, like,
Yeah.
ogres have layers. I'm like,
Dude, that's so funny because that's what I said to. I'm sorry, girl. If you're listening, like, I'm not trying to put you on blast. I just had a lot of self reflection when we had this conversation. But that's literally what I told her. I was like, I'm like an ogre. I have layers.
I have layers.
But okay, you're like also reminding me of something that I
Mm,
did want to talk about. I've been thinking about it lately and I keep forgetting to bring it up as a topic. Brene Brown. I freaking love that
mm,
woman. I love that woman.
mm-hmm,
If you guys don't know who Brene Brown is, there is a very, very wonderful Netflix special. And then there's also like a really popular TED Talk, which she mentions in that Netflix special. And Oh, she's like an actual psychologist or like what exactly her title is, but I know she studies shame and vulnerability. And I recently rewatched her Netflix special, and she was talking about vulnerability and how it can feel like a lot of people think vulnerability means that you're weak, but actually, vulnerability is a sign of bravery and it's a sign of strength. And I think that kind of is like what it comes down to, right? Is like as human beings, we're getting like super deep and like on a crazy tangent right now, but as human beings, when we go out in public or when we make new friends or when we have friends that are like acquaintances or kind of in that like in between phase where like you're close but like you're kind of not surpassing that level where it's like really close. One of the reasons why you kind of feel that struggle there is because you're scared of being vulnerable. And I kind of think that's like what it comes down to for me is like, and it's no shade to anybody, but if I'm in the middle of getting to know somebody, sometimes there's a certain level that I stop at. And it's not out of like anything bad. It's just like we haven't ever had a conversation like that before. So I'm too scared to like take it past that level because if I've never heard you talk
Mhm.
about it, like it's like, well, you go first. No, you go first. You know what I mean? And so like eventually somebody has to take that leap of faith and be like, okay, I'm going to like be real with you and I'm going to tell you about some of my backstory or I'm going to tell you about some of the core things that make me who I am and like the things that I genuinely love that I'm scared to tell people that I barely know, you know? And so I feel like that's kind of like what it comes down to. So I don't know. That took like a really crazy turn, but that was a fun little side tangent.
No, I think that was really good, and I think it'll definitely relate to other areas of the conversation. But I think you're right. It's like it takes that vulnerability of like, oh, like I've been there too, or like for example, like I got laid off in December, and I told a few of the girls that I coach with, and they're like, dude, it's okay, I've been there too. So like it takes being vulnerable for somebody else to be vulnerable, but it's like
That's
it
how
takes
bonds are
two, and then
formed.
you start to build, yeah, you start to build that relationship, because then there's the inverse, there's the other way where like people just tell you like, what's it called, trauma dumping, where they just like tell you their whole life
Yeah.
story and why they're the way they are, and you're like, I didn't even, that's too much, like I didn't even need to know that, I didn't even ask, or like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like it needs to be appropriate. So yeah, I think me just coming into
Yeah.
work and just like talking about, and then the podcast, and then me and Jenny, and then the podcast, it's like it's not appropriate because, you know,
Yeah.
so yes, yeah,
Right, that
no,
would
I've
be like
also
if I
gotten
was
that.
like just having a conversation with like one of my coworkers at the real estate office and then I was just like, yeah, so then like me and Val we started talking about vulnerability and like just out of the blue. Maybe if the conversation kind of built up to that, then for sure, but like I don't want to just like bring that up out of the blue if it wasn't part of the conversation. So,
Mhm.
yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's see. Do you feel misunderstood right now, Miss Jenny? Do you feel misunderstood?
Yeah, yeah. I told Val I wasn't gonna mention the names, but there are a few people in my family right now that I am not talking to. I really don't know. Like it's kind of in an in between right now. Like I don't know what direction it's going, how it's gonna move forward. Like I'm in limbo, and that's been like honestly really hard for me to deal with because these people I'm very close with and I would love to continue to be close with, but they're two separate situations. So as I kind of open up about this a little bit, um I'm going to be a little bit vague about like the whole, you know, the circumstances leading up to both situations, but I feel like I just want them to love me in a way that is healthy and doesn't involve lying, doesn't involve them hurting themselves and continuing behaviors that like makes their lives harder. I'm like having a hard time putting words together because I am trying to be vague, but I just hope they know that I do love them and that the reason for my distance at this point is not out of a lack of love, kind of like we talked about earlier, but it's because I love them so much, but I have to love myself first right now and I have to draw those boundaries. And I can't, there's certain behaviors that I just can't enable anymore. And so I think I kind of have to put myself first for a little bit. And I wish them nothing but the best. But, that it's hard for me to feel misunderstood, and it's hard for me to feel I feel like whenever they think about the situations that have gotten us to this point, they probably think like, "I can't believe Jenny. I can't believe that she had this, like, outburst, and I can't believe that she said all these things, and, like, that was just out of nowhere, and that was so out of character for her," and I feel like whenever they look at it, they kinda think of me as, like, the villain and, like, the bad guy for, like, saying what I was saying, but I kinda just got to a point in both of these situations where, like, I had to be completely honest because I felt like I was just lying to kinda keep up with the story and to kinda keep up with, like, the peace. Like, I was just trying to keep the peace, but I was, like, destroying my own peace in order to keep it because I was ignoring all the things that made me feel uncomfortable. And then when I finally opened up about why I felt the way that I felt, they were, like, super distraught. Again, it's hard for me to feel misunderstood. I don't like that feeling, but I just hope, like, if they are listening to this, that they know my heart and that they know that I'm coming from a place of love. It's not to make them feel ashamed in any way. It's just because they've hurt me and I'm scared to move forward in those relationships. So, yeah, I'll let you answer the question.
Dang, girl. Okay. I love you so much,
Sorry.
Jenny. You're like, I won't say any names. I will say names. Just kidding. Just kidding. I won't say too many names. Just
I won't
kidding.
say any names, but I will be kind of specific about how things
Uh,
broke down.
that's funny. Their name rhymes with Joseph. Just kidding.
Joseph.
Just kidding.
Nah, I don't know any
Just kidding.
Joseph.
So I'm talking about my brother. His name's Jose.
Jose?
Jose, are you listening? I'm like, are you listening right now? Oh my gosh, you guys, I have a story. I have a
No, we
story.
love
I
Jose.
think we're at a point we love him. I love my brother. Yes. But I feel misunderstood? Yes and no. I will talk about that in a second. But when you were talking about enabling, I had to learn that the hard way. And I had to learn that because of my brother, my dear brother, Joseph, Jose. Again, like we've talked
Joseph.
about, yeah, Joseph, his cancer and his cancer journey. But during the process, actually, I did talk to a therapist. A lot was going on. And she said that sometimes these life or death scenarios can stir up a lot of emotions, especially like anger, like why did this happen to
Mhm.
me? Like why am I going through this? Like, I did everything right. How come I got sick? Or, like a lot of feelings of
Yeah.
anger. And so I think at the time my brother was he was going through the stages of grief, team. Okay, the stages of grief.
Yeah. Yeah,
And there
literally.
was a lot of, yeah, bro, of like life or death. So there was a time where he was like really, really, really mad. And I did not like the way that I was being spoken to. And I have no issue in being the bad guy and being just saying like, I understand you went through a lot. I understand you're going through a lot, but that does not excuse your behavior. And kind of like, I understand there's a lot of feelings and I understand that feelings are valid. Like, I understand you feel this way. I understand you're upset, but your behavior is like, your feelings are not an excuse for your behavior. And like laying it
Mm.
out like that and saying like, I love you and I understand you and I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'm angry too, bro. But you cannot speak to me this way and you cannot treat me
Yeah.
this way and you cannot let your anger out on me. And like it really sucked being the bad guy because I know like this person is going through a lot and this person's already feeling a certain way,
Yeah.
but also like I will not enable this. Like I will also not like I will
Yeah.
not
I love
be a
this.
punching bag. I will not be a punching bag.
Well, I just love this because I
So
feel like that's what siblings are for. Like, siblings are there not to be mean or anything, but you're like, in your head, you're like, "I don't care if you have cancer, like, I'm gonna tell you how it is." But it's like, sometimes that's kind of the best thing, right? Because I don't know his experiences, but I'm willing to bet there was probably a point in his cancer journey where he felt like people were not treating him like a normal human being, too. And I bet he probably felt like, "Oh
mm,
my God, like, everybody's just babying me and they're, like, freaking out." And then here comes Val and you're like, "Stop being an asshole." Like, you know what I mean? And, like, that's good though, because
mhm.
again, it means that you value the honesty and you value him as a person and you're not gonna let him just, like, get away with it just because he has those feelings. And like you said, the feelings are valid, but you're also a human being too, and he needed to treat you with respect. I'm just assuming that's, like, the kind of scenario you're talking about, but love that. I love that.
I guess also, and I do ask this when people get upset when I'm honest with them, and it's like, well, like, I respect you enough to be honest with you. Would you rather me sugarcoat things? Would you rather me be like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." Like, would you rather me do you value honesty, and would you rather hear me be honest and give you that hard truth, or would you rather me just like sugarcoat things? It's like
Like, be a
like
fake
which one?
friend.
And yes, and so I have had times when like people are honest and it hurts, and I'm like, all right, well, like, thanks for telling me that. Like, it sucks in the moment. You're like, dang, like that hurt or that stung, but it's like, but I know it's with love, and I also know their character. I also know, like, I guess it goes back to the person's. Yeah. To answer the
Yeah.
question, do I feel misunderstood? Yes and no. I think sometimes people are like, "What is Val doing?" Like, I feel like that people they're like, "What is she doing?" But I also don't care to explain. I'm like, "Yeah, like, just keep
Yeah,
watching,
I
I
think
guess, to find
you
out."
are really good at that. Where like honestly, I need to channel more of that energy in 2026. Like I feel like you've gotten in a really good place where you're like, are they living my life? No. So like I'm going to care, what my core people think and like I'm going to take it into consideration, but I'm not going to like let it rule over my whole existence.
Yeah. Okay. This one, the title of this section is called Loneliness as Expansion. Okay. What feels more open in your life right now, Jenny?
Open? Like
I
I don't
have I
understand.
have a thought. I have an idea.
I need an example.
Um, okay. What feels more open in your life right now? Okay. In my life right now, I said I got laid off in December, so definitely I have more time because I was working
Oh,
mornings and then coaching in the evenings and weekends. So then Jenny and I would like podcast on Sundays. And like literally we were working 24/7 nonstop, just like Monday through Sunday and then start over. So right now, since I'm not working like mornings, I'm only working some evenings and some weekends. I have more time for podcasts. I have more time for meaningful relationships. Like, I talk to my brother more. I talk to my mom more. Like, I actually feel like I have more time. Same thing with my husband. Like, like there's more time for us. I don't feel like I'm working 24/7 and putting all these products together and all these things. Like, I feel like I can take my time. I've spent more time like creating more like on TikTok or, fill in the blank, just in relationship to like Washington. I do like where Jenny and I are from. We're from Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is beautiful. It's great and I love it. But there is like small town mentality and like, oh my gosh, did you hear what this person said? Did you see what she was wearing? Oh my God. Like, so also not being there has given me a lot of time to just
freedom.
do this freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, like to be
Yes.
whoever you wanna be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like something whenever I lived in Florida, like that I felt so free, like whenever I was there, because I was like, nobody knows
Mm.
me. Like people like had me on social media from like my hometown and stuff like that, but I could literally reinvent who I was and I could throw away all the things that I didn't like, all the bad habits and like reinvent like this new person. So I think that's like a wonderful thing. I would say right now in this season of my life, the thing that's more open is actually I have a lot more ideas. Since 2026 started, I have been more consistent with social media. I wouldn't say like a ton more consistent because there was a like a 2-week period where I fell off, but I'm getting back on track. But ever since I started posting on social media, like on TikTok and posting more on my real estate page, I feel like the more I exercise that creativity muscle, the more ideas come in. And it's really exciting for me because I'm not executing my creativity in all the ways I want to. Like if it was up to me, I would paint way more. But it doesn't mean that I'm not doing it at
Mhm.
all. And so I'm just kind of like looking at all these other ways to create as opportunities to like execute those ideas and like be a creative being, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and this one's a good one. I like this question. What is something you have stopped forcing? I'm thinking
I
too. I'm
remember we
like, I
talked
like it.
about
I
this
have no thoughts right now.
before and I had an answer, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, just like being okay with people not like being on good terms with me. Not that I'm like making creating conflict everywhere I go. I'm not trying to do that. But like being okay with people not like understanding every single aspect of where I'm coming from and like not having to like over explain my point of view, which I'm literally doing right now. That's something that I need to work on. I need to just say what I need to say and let it be what it is. And if somebody doesn't understand it, they can ask me the questions and I can explain. But if they do understand it, then I didn't have to waste my breath beating the dead horse of the point over and over and over again. Yeah, that'll be my answer.
I agree. I mean, the way I
Too.
concur. Same. So yes, what have I stopped forcing? I would say just over explaining. You and oh my gosh, you guys are gonna be like, Val, you are a villain. Oh my gosh, maybe. But I have also tried not to like over explain. And this comes from my coach, but this man was so assertive. This is a military man. Like this man's just like, don't tell me what you're gonna do, just do it. And I'll be like, okay, okay. So like I feel like it's kind of the same mentality. And the older I've gotten, the more that I'm like, geez, like his name is my coach's name is Justin. I'm like, Justin, stop. Like sometimes I hear his voice and I hear his voice when other people talk. And so people people will be explaining themselves and like I hear his voice and he's so sarcastic. He's and I just want to say something like, sounds like you're really trying to convince yourself of that. And I'm like, no, Val, don't say that. So I just be like, okay, well, you do that, okay? You do that. So yeah, it's probably stop forcing. I just do it. I just do it. And I think that that is a blessing because Val will freaking do it. Val will do it. But sometimes people need to tell Val to be like, hey, you don't have to over explain yourself, girl. We get it. You don't explain yourself. Can you think about it a little bit? Can you like maybe stop and think? You don't have to stop and explain, but can you think? So my husband and I, we have this conversation a lot of like, yes, Val, we get it. You are a doer. You are a go-getter. You go, girl. Can you stop and think first? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
See, I have
that's
the
so
opposite
mean.
problem. I was telling Val the other day, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was like, see, me, I love thinking. I think so much that I overthink. It's so accurate. Like, I just think and think and think and think until I can't think no more. And then I have an anxiety
Yeah,
attack.
and
No,
sometimes
just
I have
kidding.
the opposite problem. Yeah, yeah, but then I have the opposite problem where I'm like, oh, I didn't think this through. So yeah, what have I stopped forcing? Definitely, I don't really explain myself, which I think is great, but I do need to like stop and think first and just like yeah, I need to think a little harder. The audience is like, okay, Val, okay. I make it sound like I don't think. I think, team. I think. I just need to slow down. That's it. I need to slow down sometimes. Who
Yeah,
are you getting to know better
same.
now that it's quieter? I was telling Jenny that I'm getting to definitely, I learned something about myself every day. So definitely myself, but also my husband, just because here, like he's the only person that I'm with. I'm far away from my brother, my mom, my friends, my cousins.
Mhm.
So he does wear a lot of hats for he is my best friend and thank God, but also just getting to know each other on good days, bad days, stressed, happy, angry, through grief, through, fill in the blank. Um, so yeah, definitely leaning in more, especially here because it's so quiet. There's not a lot of noise or things that you can, I don't want to say run from, but like I use extrovertedness to run away a lot. Like if I had feelings, I would just be like, well, I'm gonna go
Mm.
climb and I wouldn't be back for 8 hours. Or like, I'm gonna go here. And it was like a way to also cope. It's like, I'm just gonna go do something to like numb these feelings and now I have to sit through them. So I'm
Yeah.
getting to definitely learn myself a lot more and just like deal with it, like literally actually like, all right, like we got to sit with this. All right. And then also my other person, my husband, and working together as a team. Because I think it's really easy to just like me, myself, and I'm gonna go do this. But then when you're in a team, you're like, okay, like we gotta do this. And like, how are we gonna
Yeah.
do this? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know we touched on earlier before we started
Um,
recording, keeping your circle small and focusing on the quality of your relationships rather than feeling the need to like continually add more and more people onto the roster and like spreading yourself thin. I
mm-hmm.
think for me, this is where the pretentious comes in. 'Cause I told Val, I was like, "I feel so bad every time I say I'm busy, and I'm such a busy person, I feel like I sound so pretentious, like, oh, I'm just my books are filled, pencil me in," like and, like, I am trying not to come off that way, but genuinely, I am a freaking busy person, and, like, I kinda need to reel it in. I'm getting to that point where, like, if I don't reel it in soon, and if I don't express certain boundaries, and, like, I don't have to give people this crazy explanation. The explanation of me needing time for myself is good enough. I
Mhm.
need to, like, bring it back to myself and make sure that I'm carving out time for myself and my solitude and my self-care so that whenever I am showing up in these spaces like real estate or my part-time job or fitness or planning for my wedding in 2026, that I am showing up focused and that I'm able to give maybe not my 100% every time because I'm only a human being, but at least 80%. You know what I mean? Like, I wanna make sure that I am being strategic about where my energy is going. So, yeah.
Dang, that was really good, Jen. What is the season teaching you? For me, it's really, I think moving has really forced me to focus on my goals because it is, again, I was saying like I would use extrovertedness or my extroversion of like, I got
Mhm.
invited here, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that, of like side questing in order to like avoid things that I know I should be doing, or like I said I
Mm.
was gonna do this one thing but something came up, so I'll just do it next week. And it was kind of like a procrastination. Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
the
where you,
one,
like,
Jenny.
start new projects over and
Procrastination.
over.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like you have no excuse. Like you have nowhere to run to, Val. Like you literally you can't go climb with your friends this weekend. Like you can't even get there, girl. You can't even get there.
Yeah.
So kind of not putting things off. Yeah. I'm also, I guess, just because my husband is in the military, like I see him and I see like he has to get things done because there's like no excuses. Like you got to be there at 6 a.m. And so I see him and I'm like, all right, like no excuses, Val. Like we said we're gonna do this, so we gotta make a plan and we gotta get it done. And I was kind of telling Jenny earlier during the day that I think real estate has done that for her because it's like, well, the houses aren't gonna sell themselves. It's like
Yeah.
like you're forced into it, like you
You have
have
to show
to
up.
be a person of action. Yeah, yeah. So this season has definitely taught me to build and to get it done and make time for it for sure.
Yeah. So my answer to that
Mm.
question, can you reword it again? Something about a season?
Yeah, like what is this season teaching you?
That's right. So my answer to the question is it's teaching me to like look at the simple pleasures and look at the joy that I have in my life and finding ways to romanticize my life because again, busy. And literally if I don't
Mm-hmm.
stop and smell the roses every now and then like I might just go crazy. So really just trying to hone in and like bring it back to gratitude, bring it back to remembering to be grateful to just be alive. Like the fact that I woke up another day and kind of bringing it back to what Val said earlier about unfortunately those who were in our class that didn't even get to go to college. Like I've lived so much life since then and what a freaking blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who passed away in late 2024 and like, I just think about her often, and I think, like, just how sad it is that her life got cut so short. She had so many dreams. I didn't think I was gonna get emotional. She was, like, moving in with her boyfriend, and I'm sure, they were getting to a point where they were probably gonna get married, and I know she would have wanted to be a mom, and, like, she didn't have those
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, so I have to, like, use the every single day that I get as my opportunity to go after those dreams, but also as the opportunity to, like, feel blessed for what I do have, because one day I
Mm-hmm.
might well, not one day I might not. One day I won't. That's a guarantee. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but one day I will not have this. And, it's
Mm-hmm.
important for me to remember to notice those beautiful things around me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that was beautiful, Jen. Wow.
We're just
All right.
getting so
So we
deep.
have a few more questions. Yeah. But what are you learning to trust? So I'll give Jenny a break. Jenny, I love you so much. But what are you learning to
Love
trust?
you.
So when I answer this question, I put, I'm learning to trust in myself. And I feel like in several times in my life, like I know I've trusted myself, and I am just so blessed that my parents were never like helicopter parents or like over controlling. They're like, what do you want to do? And they really like let me hone in, and I had a coach that believed in me, and anytime I trusted myself, like I want to go do this or I'm going to do that, like it got done. But it was when I didn't trust myself and when I listened to external voices, and I talk about my masters a lot. I got my masters and I'm very proud. It's yes, blah 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 blah. Like I'm very proud of that because it was freaking hard. And I think one of
You
the
should
reasons why it
be.
was hard is because I didn't necessarily want to do it. I am proud of myself. Like I did it, but I did it maybe for the wrong reasons. I did it because people were like, "Oh, like, well, what are you gonna do now? Like, it's a competitive market. You should get your master's." Or like, it seems like you're really good at that. Like, are you gonna do more of that? Like, have you thought about grad school? Have you applied? And just like giving into like the peer pressure and like the social peer pressure of like, what's next? And maybe I should have just taken a break and really done some soul searching. But again, and this is where I say, like, I'm definitely a doer. Like, Val is a doer. But like, I should have stopped and think because I didn't want to do that thing and I did it. And I could have saved myself time and money for sure. I could have started this a lot sooner. But I think sometimes you have to go through those things to learn, like, to learn to slow
Yeah.
down and to really learn to listen to yourself. So, who are you learning to trust? Myself for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
bad because I feel like a lot of our answers are both of us just like, me too, but same. I think one of the things that I struggled with a lot at the end of 2025 was like just feeling like I don't know what the heck I'm doing and questioning like am I going down the right path? Is this like I don't know exactly how to move forward and like what the strategy is here because I do really love the field that I'm in. I really do love real estate, and I feel like it's again it's made me grow so much. But it is hard to get into. It's a really slow build. It's a very patient build. It's a brick by brick kind of thing. And in the meantime, I have to find ways to generate income, and I've been trying to figure out how to generate income without depleting my energy, without feeling like I am, not in like a toxic place. I have a great workplace. I'm not saying that I have a toxic workplace by any means, but I do bartend. So I get quite a bit of weird characters who come into the bar every now and then. And so I want to do the other thing too is like I just want to spend my time doing something that feels more fulfilling. And
Mhm.
like towards the end of 2025, I was trying to figure out like how I want to change that. Like what opportunities are out there so that I can generate income while maintaining this path towards real estate, but also having something flexible and having something that feels fulfilling and having something that I'm good at and so on and so forth. And so this year I want to trust myself more and remind myself like I'm doing the best with what I have. And as long as I am taking steps towards growth and again, bringing in an income, that's all that matters. Letting that be enough for the moment, not feeling like I have to be perfect and I feel like I have to like chase all of these extremes because I'm just one person.
Mhm. Yeah, Jenny and I, we were having that conversation, and I was telling her that similarly, it is hard whenever you have a master's and like you go into these areas and maybe you're like overqualified, or like your parents are like, "Why are you coaching? Like you have a master's, like why aren't you doing clinical work or why aren't you doing this?" And just telling them like, "You know what? This is what's bringing me joy. Like in this cold state, in this state where I don't know anyone, in this state where like I don't have a network. Like coaching, being around kids, being out on the floor, like running around, like brings me joy. It brings me happiness. And while I'm doing that, I'm building this amazing podcast with my best friend, and I'm building another podcast. And also, this is a very temporary time in my life where, like, I'm only here temporarily, and I don't want to climb the social ladder, and I don't want to have superficial conversations and talk about the weather, and I don't want to try to be a top performer for like a short-term job and then move and then replicate that and do it again and prove myself. And like, I just want to have fun and I just want to enjoy my life and I just want to be happy. And at the end of the day, I just want to be happy and build something that means something to me. So yeah, I agree, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah.
No? So the last thing that we have, I think one more question, but the way I want to lead with this is that being alone and being lonely are two different things. So I did get some quotes. These are not my quotes, team, but you know how much I love quotes. And then alone refers to the physical state of being with oneself. So just being by yourself without others. Present, neutral, often peaceful for some negative states. Lonely is an emotional state characterized by feeling of sadness. Another quote that I pulled, and this one's from Socrates. I have several quotes, team. If you are lonely when you are alone, then you are in bad company. So I'll say that again. If you are lonely when you are alone,
Mm.
then you are in bad company because you're the only person you can outrun. At the end of the day, you still got to deal with your thoughts. The last
Yeah.
one is by Robin Williams. Is the worst thing in life is to end up with someone that makes you feel alone. And I can speak by that one. I was dating someone and I just was like head over heels over this person and I was just like, man, I just really, really want this person to be my person. I just really, like, I will say, like, I just really love them. But when I was with them, I felt so alone. I was like, dude, I'd rather be hanging out by myself. When I'm by myself, I can play music, I can play jams, I can paint, I can be myself. But when I'm with you, I feel so alone. Like the feeling, I was like, it's just, that's how I knew. I'm like, I don't think you're my person. Like, I wanted you to be my person, but it was such a lonely feeling that, yeah. I was like, actually rather be alone because I'm a vibe. Because I'm a vibe. So, Jenny, let's see, to anyone that is feeling alone or somebody that is building or somebody that's growing or outgrowing people, friends, places, spaces, like what would you tell them?
I would say get comfortable with putting yourself first. And that doesn't mean that you have to cut them off, the other people that you might be outgrowing completely. Figure out what your needs are, get organized in your thoughts. Ask yourself, are these habits serving me? Are they helping me grow? Or are they hurting me? Or are they just keeping me neutral? Figure that out. Ask yourself what friends are in your life that are contributing to the negative and what are contributing to the positive. And again, you don't have to necessarily cut people off like cold turkey, but invite the people that maybe have the negative habits to tap into their higher self and to grow as people themselves and like have conversations like that. Like get brave and be like, lately I have been thinking about cutting back on drinking. Like it's kind of weird, but it doesn't resonate with me as much as it used to. And that's actually something that I've talked to Val about recently. And then that invites a conversation where it's like the person who is your real friend, if they're your real friend, they will support that and they'll be like, that's wonderful. Like, I'm here to support you in however that journey looks. Maybe it's, cutting it off completely if that's what you want to do. If it's kind of going through phases and eventually just getting less and less over time, which has been the case for me, Jenny, then that's what it looks like. But I'm here. I'm not going to judge you and we're going to get through this. And then if it's not a good connection, that person might judge you, that person might make fun of you, that person might say all the fun, nice things, but then as time goes on, they kind of start to drop off. And so then you figure out that it might have been more of a superficial relationship. And so I think at the end of the day, kind of just tying it back into loneliness and being in your own company, you are with yourself for the rest of your life. And so if you do not
Mm-hmm.
put yourself as a priority, ultimately you are going to pay the price. So you have to have your own back. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the advice that I would give.
Wow. I love that. I think just to kind of, feed off what Jenny was saying, it's like if you chase validation, if you chase, like, I think a lot of people are really scared of being alone. And I would actually say, like, if you're scared of being alone, I think you should actually lean into it and you should try and make an effort to be alone more
Mhm.
because I think you'll learn to love it. And then a lot of people, it becomes like on the other end where like they love being alone so much that they, like don't make an effort to be around people.
Yeah.
And that's another extreme. But I've seen people be in bad relationships because they're afraid to be alone. I've seen people allow mistreatment because they rather would be like enablers. They rather like keep the person around and be mistreated, mistalked to than like cut the person off. And like I've just seen bad things happen when it's like I rather, have someone or be someone than be alone. I guess on the other end, and I've been on the other end where like I had a coach and I had a mom and a dad and they were very selective of like you got to know who your friends are. Like you can't, like your friends should be, how do you say, have standards and they should push you to be better, and it's okay to
Mhm.
be alone. You're not here to like fit in. You can stand out. It's okay to not be in a crowd. It's okay to be a leader. Like just kind of like the opposite. So
Yeah.
um yeah, like it being okay to be alone. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, it kind of reminded me of what I said earlier before we started recording, where like there's a difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in is whenever you try to
Mm,
adapt to everybody else and like you start to adapt their personality traits so that you can like blend in. But belonging is when people genuinely value you for the differences that you bring to the group and you're able to be yourself. And so I think those are two things that you need to look for when it comes to friendships and growing in friendships and so on and so forth. I will say, randomly want to rewind for a second. When it comes to spending time with yourself and being alone, this is going to be kind of hard for some people to hear, but make sure you're actually spending time alone. I mean, like, don't get on social media. Don't distract yourself with movies or video games. Like, really be alone. If you need to, you can put on some music or something, but like journal for a little bit, meditate for a little bit. Just look out the window for 5 minutes without like having to distract yourself with something and like really sit with yourself. And I know that's really hard for society to do right now because of how many distractions we have, but you'll be so surprised how much better you feel whenever you eliminate those distractions and you give your mind a break. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
yeah. No, I completely love that. So yeah, I would say like lean in into that aloneness. Not, I don't want to say loneliness, but lean into that aloneness. Because there's so much wisdom there. And also my brother actually told me this. I don't know what conversation we were having, but he's like, we'll lean into it. Because I was saying like I feel so alone, I'm so homesick, and he's like, we'll lean into it. And I was like, well, it's easy for you to say. And he's like, well, you just don't know when you're gonna have that opportunity again in your life. Like,
Mm,
maybe one day you'll have kids, or you'll have, like something will happen, and like maybe mom and dad have
yeah.
to live with you because like they're old and you have to take care of them, and you will have no alone time. And he's like, being alone is kind of a gift because you're kind of unbothered. Like nobody is, it can be a gift if you
You're
choose to see
peaceful.
it that way. And you don't, yeah, it's peaceful. It's like, and so you don't know when you're not gonna have that again. um, so he's like, especially if you have kids, for the most part, when you have kids, assuming they leave the house when they're 18, he's like, who knows when those 18 years will go by, Val. So he's like, kind of
Yeah.
like lean into it, like figure out who you are more, what you like, what you don't like, who you want to work with, who you don't. Like write a book, who knows? And so I was like, oh, like, yeah, I think that is a really good, like, again, everything is like the way you think about it. Like if you flip your mindset, it's like, oh yeah, like I've been given
Mhm.
this gift of peace, of time for myself, versus who knows, one day Jenny and I will be moms and like we'll have to figure out child care for so that we can do this. Who knows? Be like husband here.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Wow, comadre. So how do you feel now? How do you feel
Um,
now?
I feel part of me feels like a big weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like I feel like it was really cathartic. And then the other part of me is like
Mm-hmm.
having a little bit of a vulnerability hangover. And I'm like, what did I just say? Like I said so much. I feel like I really opened up on this episode, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Because again, vulnerability creates bonds. So I'm hoping that my message came across and that it didn't seem pretentious in any ways. Again, I'm doing my best. I am only a human being. So, however it needs to be perceived, it will be perceived. And I need to stop caring what people think. So, That's what I'm working on this year, guys.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm just happy and I'm happy that I get to
Yeah.
do this and have these thoughts with my best friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it helps, if it resonates, I mean, if you're working on something, put it in the comments. If you want us to talk about something, put it in the comments. Like we do listen, we
Yeah.
do try to answer those. Yeah, but that's it. That's it.
Awesome. Well, this was like a really good episode. Yeah. What? I need to know.
The quote, yeah, we gotta end it
I
with a
forgot.
quote because
I
it's so
don't even
real.
think we've been doing that on the last few episodes. Whoops. Yeah, guys,
Yeah,
let's not
yeah.
forget to do our quote. You can make it a great day or
Mhm.
not.
The choice is yours. Yeah. Okay.
I'm so
That's it,
excited.
team. Yeah.
Okay. We love
Yeah.
you guys.
All right.
We hope you're having a beautiful day.
We love
Take care
you.
of yourselves.
Yeah. Take care. Kisses.
Bye.